Am I the a-hole for leaving my boyfriend's birthday party after what he said to me? I went to his party and made a proper effort to look nice. I wore a cute top and jeans, and I felt really good in it. The first thing he says when he sees me is, "Oh, I thought you'd dress up a bit more, maybe do your makeup or something." And then he laughs and goes, "Nah, I'm joking, chill." Everyone else laughed too, and I just stood there like, "Oh, okay, cool." I did not realize I looked that bad. I stayed for a bit and tried to act normal, but ended up leaving early. Now he's saying I embarrassed him and made it a big deal over nothing. Am I the a-hole, or was that actually out of line? Is that the first thing he said, in front of other people? Not the a-hole. Holy cow, how dare he then say you embarrassed him? He embarrassed himself and showed everyone who he really is. You should have left that guy yesterday. No one should be greeting you like that. I am glad you left early. Am I the a-hole if I do not invite my stepmother, who had an affair with my father, to my wedding? All right, everyone, here we go. The background is that she is technically no longer married to my father. They got legally divorced for financial reasons, basically. My dad does not want her taking his money, but they still live together and do not tell anyone they are divorced. I really dislike her, and I do not say that lightly. The story goes, I met her daughter in 7th grade, and we became close friends, so her mom and my mom became friends. In 8th grade, I realized her daughter was a terrible person, and our friendship ended because she got a new best friend in 8th grade. She would purposely exclude me from activities, sit with her back towards me at the lunch table to talk to her new best friend, and so on. Unfortunately, her mom and my mom remained friends. Then, in freshman year of high school, my mom and I found out she was having an affair with my dad. So my ex-stepmother was friends with my mom and also has a daughter who bullied me. She had an affair with my dad and got married to him when I was 19 years old, after my dad tried getting back with my mom twice, but cheated on her again with my stepmother. My mom finally had him leave. Since their marriage, she has seen my mom once at the grocery store and called her a witch. That is something I will never forget to go along with everything else she already did. She has said rude things about me behind my back, which my dad told me about, like getting a degree in social work is easy, even though she has never been to college, but that was in my early 20s. I am 31 now. She also just always looks at me with this stank look on her face almost all the time. I know she probably secretly dislikes me because I am my mother's child, and she is jealous, of course. I have to deal with her whenever I see my dad, and we just keep it civil. I have not honestly had issues with her in a long time. Her presence just annoys me. She apologized once about having the affair when she was crying to me that my father gets abusive, but I already know and do not feel sorry for her. She is such a selfish person and only cares about how she looks to others, with fancy clothes, cars, etc. I have issues with my dad at times, but he is my dad. But he can be narcissistic and probably has undiagnosed mental health problems. My dad has told me numerous times they do not love each other and are only together for financial reasons. Do I invite her to keep the peace and keep my dad happy, or risk my dad possibly not showing up to my wedding because I do not invite her? I already mentioned to my dad that I did not want to invite her, and he was not happy about it. I think about how I was too complacent sometimes when I was a kid, even attending their wedding as a bridesmaid. How messed up is that? So, am I the a-hole if I do not invite my ex-stepmother, who was friends with my mom and had an affair with my dad, to my wedding? Not the a-hole. Your wedding should be a celebration with the people you truly want there, and if you do not want this woman to be invited, then she should not be included. If that means your dad does not attend, well, that kind of confirms that their relationship is not just for financial reasons, if nothing else. Do not invite her just to maintain peace. The peace you need to focus on is your own, of course, and your mother's, who I assume is closer to you than your father is. Your father's peace comes after that and is his own responsibility based on his past actions. Am I the a-hole for planning to keep the money from my share of my parents' apartment? Hello, this is a temporary account for obvious reasons. I will try to keep this brief. Here is the backstory. I am a 24-year-old female who had a fairly difficult childhood. Even though I was never hungry, I was the unwanted child who wore secondhand clothes, and everything I owned was a hand-me-down. My last memory of my father was when I was around 6 or 7 years old. My parents were screaming at each other, and that was the last time I saw my father. My mother already had a new partner, and not long after, she gave birth to the long-awaited son. He got everything: name-brand clothes, new phones, and even if my parents wanted to say no, he would cry and still get what he wanted. Today, I live in a rental apartment in Tallinn, Estonia, and my mother sometimes calls me. I occasionally visit if I want to see my friends who still live in my hometown. Quite recently, my 17-year-old brother told me that our mother and his father bought a house. They are going to sell the apartment, and even though most of the money from selling the place will go to renovating the house, they will buy him a BMW for his 18th birthday. I pretended to be happy for him. It is not his fault he was spoiled. It hurt me as I never even got a new bicycle. A few weeks later, my mother called me and told me she was sad to inform me that my father had passed away some time ago. She wanted to contact him about selling the apartment and found out that he is no longer with us. His sister will send the death certificate from Finland, his home country to which he returned. No wonder I never found any information about him. My mother found a buyer for the apartment, and when she sent the death certificate to the notary, they informed her that there was a will made by him leaving everything he owned in Estonia to me. They did not inform me before as they had no information about the death. Suddenly, I owned 50% of my parents' apartment, as they got it together way before I was born. Mother explained to me that I should gift my share to her since he paid no child support and she raised me alone. Which is not even true. My stepfather was there my whole life. I told her that I might use my share as a down payment for my own home in Tallinn. Suddenly, both my brother and mother are upset with me. When I pointed out that my brother bragged about a car, my mother explained to me how I am an adult now, living my own life, and I should not expect my parents' support at the age of 24. When she was my age, she was completely independent. Taking 50% would mean they cannot even finish all the renovations they started on the house. My brother keeps sending me messages that I am selfish and do not care that it was his home too. They are really upset with me. I am not asking for advice. I will take my 50%. I am asking if that makes me a jerk. Am I the a-hole? Update. When I arrived home, there was a message from the notary stating that the handwritten will my mother sent him is no longer legal, as those have to be renewed every 6 months. Long story short, it appears that my father scammed my mother to avoid child support and give the apartment to me. It turns out he made a handwritten will in 2006, stating that he would leave the whole apartment he bought while married to my mother, and it should cover child support. A few months later, he made a will with the notary, stating that he would leave his part of the apartment to me in marriage. It is automatically 50-50. It turns out that anyone can make a new will anytime they want. I still have not changed my mind, so am I the a-hole? This is your money, not hers. You are not taking it from her, she is trying to steal it from you. What was she going to do if your father was still alive? She would have to pay that 50% to him. And that line about your dad never paying child support. Child support is for the child, not the parent. Poor planning on her part is not your problem. And your brother not getting a BMW, boo effing who. Do not give them 1 red cent, not the a-hole. Am I the a-hole for refusing to sleep on the floor in our Airbnb? I am a 21-year-old male going on a trip with 2 friends, a 19-year-old male and a 19-year-old female. We all get along well, and we found a nice, cheap Airbnb in a quiet area. The Airbnb has 1 single sofa bed and 1 double bed. After we booked it, the girl suddenly suggested that we rotate who sleeps on the sofa bed and the double bed, which seemed fair to me at first. But then she said she will not share the double bed with another guy because of a past experience that affected her. I told her I understood, but that means my friend and I would have to take turns sleeping on the floor since there are only 2 sleeping spots. I suggested she stay on the sofa bed instead, but she refused, saying she has back problems. Now it feels like she expects my friend and me to alternate between the sofa and the floor while she always gets the double bed. I do not think that is fair, but she insists on her arrangement. Am I in the wrong for refusing to sleep on the floor? Note, English is not my first language, so this post has been translated. Not the a-hole. I respect that she does not feel comfortable sharing with a guy, but she should have disclosed all of this before agreeing to book the place to ensure everyone had comfortable sleeping arrangements.